Alright everybody, welcome to the first real video in the series on our DIY van conversion for our new 2023 Ford Transit. Alright, so we started with the floor. As you can see, we got it all cut and installed. I filmed everything along the way on how to do it. And what we did with this is we started by sandwiching basically half an inch of this, the pink foam board, and then 3/4 inch plywood on top of it. And when we put it down, everything was great. We glued the sheets of plywood together and used Kreg screws to fasten everything together, and everything was going perfect. We walked on it, there was no problems. We used a foam board specific adhesive and glued some wood strips in certain areas on the floor to give it a little bit more support, and everything was great until it dried. So now when you walk in here, I don't know if you can hear that. Basically, you can hear the foam creaking, and it's not everywhere. So I tried securing the foam board down through the whole floor down through the chassis, and it worked in areas, but I don't want to have a bunch of bolts going through the bottom of the van. So we just decided that we're going to rip it out and start over. So don't make the same mistake. No matter what other people say on YouTube, it did not work for us. All right, so once we get all this stuff ripped back out, we're going to try to reuse everything. The only difference is this time we're going to have a wood structure built underneath. And that's what we did when we did our ProMaster van build. We just thought we would try this different way because it was easier and it supposedly worked really good. Saved a little bit of space, but it turns out we're doing it over. So we should have just done it the way we did it the first time. Alright, so I got this kind of pulled up here. See, the problem is foam board glued to the wood good because it's porous, but not the frame of the van. This stuff doesn't even want to dry. It's been like over a week. Alright, so here's the mess. We're leaving the back one because, number one, it actually doesn't make any noise. And number two, it's not going to be walked on. It's all going to be basement area. And then up here, we're going to kind of, like I said, we're going to retrofit stuff, putting boards this way, and then laying the foam in between them. And there's just, you'll see there's just a little bit higher on the boards to keep the foam from touching the wood. Alright, so this is the layout, and then we're going to have some running where we walk this way also for extra support down the middle, kind of like the aisleway under the floor. Then we'll fill in the gaps with the foam. Also, this time we're using a different adhesive since we're not gluing the foam directly down. This is Loctite Marine Fast Cure. You can use it between 32 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It dries in 24 hours completely, and it'll even work underwater. This is really good stuff. It's a little more expensive, but we're just using it to glue these down to where it crosses on the metal floor, because it will adhere the wood to the metal much better than anything else. Alright, so this is a little more like it. This is what we should have done in the first place. We're going to go ahead and now fill in all the spaces in between with the foam insulation. Everything in here was glued down with the Loctite Marine. So once this all dries, this will be very, very strong. You can see what we had to do here. We had to rip some plywood. This plastic trim from Ford is a little bit higher, so we wanted it to be the exact same level, so when the floor comes across, it matches up here. And we're going to put some weights, some cinder blocks in some spots in the middle. I think just even the factory floor of the van is not perfectly level, so we want the boards to really adhere to the metal. We're going to let it dry overnight, And we're going to put a heater in here, so it's supposed to be below freezing tonight. Alright, so you have to think about all your systems every step of the way with the build. So one thing I have to consider with the floor is that I'm going to have one of these lights underneath the van. So it's like approach lighting. So if you're parked somewhere at night, you can have that light on and not be really annoying, but still kind of see your way. There'll be another one of them, which will be installed above the door. But for the purposes of the floor, I'll show you how it looks when it's underneath. So I drilled a hole right here. It goes down in the middle of a frame rail, which you'll see on the bottom of the van. And that's where that light will be mounted. But I need the wire to run under the floor to get up into the wall here to the switch where it's going to be. So obviously if I put the floor down without thinking about this, it would have been too late, and I would have had to find some other way to try to get the wiring into the van. So think about all these little details, all your systems, as you're going along. Alright, so we've got all of the foam cut and laid in, and we use this Tyvek tape just to kind of, it's more of a, like an air barrier, vapor barrier, in case there's any small holes. The foam sits just lower than the wood. That way, once the plywood's on, when you walk on it, it won't make contact with the foam. There's no chance that it'll squeak or anything. What we're going to do is we're going to lay just a bead of liquid nails across the boards, especially where they meet, and then we're going to screw the plywood back down. Now they've got the holes filled. Okay, so we're ready to put the finished floor down. Again, from the 8-foot point forward, it's going to be this resilient vinyl flooring. And then from that point back, we're going to take the factory mat that was in here, and we're going to actually glue it down, and that's going to be the floor covering for basically the basement area. Okay, so for this back area here, just basically trimmed a little bit of the jute backing off. I'm going to be using some spray adhesive to put this part on. We'll attach the vinyl flooring with some actual vinyl floor adhesive. Let's just keep it from shifting around. Alright, so we got the back installed. Just put a little bit of spray adhesive in this area here just to keep it from sliding. Like I said, this is just a factory mat, and then now the linoleum or resilient vinyl flooring has been acclimated to the van. It's actually a really warm day for December here in Ohio. It's about 60 degrees, so it'll be perfect for the glue to dry. We're using this Henry 450 glue. It's basically dual purpose. The longer you let it set up, the less permanent it is. So we're not going to be letting the glue set up very long. We're going to roll it on with a small paint roller, and we're going to get this stuff glued down pretty quick. We don't want it to be able to move at all. Obviously, with expansion and contraction in a van, it plays a big part in your flooring. You really want it secured down as best as possible. So, like I said, in the past, we used the vinyl planks and the stick down kind. You do have to glue those. You can use those, but just understand that in the winter, they're going to pull apart from each other a little bit. You're going to see gaps. So it's best to put them down in the summer when it's warm, when they're fully expanded, and that's when it looks good. And just know that it's not going to look good. But with this, should eliminate that problem. So that's why we're using a one-piece solution. We did just find this at our local Lowe's, which makes it really easy. The problem, like I talked about, is this goes, it's only 8 feet if you want the planks to run the long way. So this was an 8x12 sheet, which is fine for what we're doing, but if you wanted it to run the full length of the van, you'd have to go with a different, product than this. Alright, so here is the finished product. Obviously it needs to dry. I think it turned out good. That will look nice. Do all this work, and then we're going to cover most of it up with the bathroom and the kitchen and everything else. But so the basement area will have that nice textured, padded floor, which you do good to keep stuff from sliding around as bad. And obviously up here we'll have this nice one-piece finish. That way it's waterproof and don't have to worry about tiles separating from each other. Thanks for coming along on another video in our 2023 Transit van build. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get all the latest videos in this project and others. If you have a comment or question, be sure to leave it below. Like the video, subscribe. Until next time, we'll see you later.